All right, so today we're in section 11.6, circumference of a circle. There are two formulas that really kind of work hand in hand. They can go back and forth, but there's two formulas that we can use to solve for the circumference of a circle. The first one has to do with diameter, where C equals pi d, or C equals 2 pi r. If it's d, it's diameter. If it's r, it's radius. And notice that the diameter extends across the entire width of the circle. The radius is only half. Now, technically, look at this with me for a sec. If the entire distance across the circle is 16 centimeters, what would be half of that? 8. So that's your radius. So technically, you could half it and still use your radius formula. Or you could, if the radius is 10 inches, what's the diameter? 20. So you could double the radius and use the diameter formula. The important thing is, if you're using a diameter value, you use the diameter formula. If you're using a radius value, you use the radius formula. If you prefer one or the other, just double it or half it and use the one that you prefer.
Also, you don't care if we do...
No, so like if you prefer the diameter formula and it gives you radius and you want to mental math, just double it and use diameter, that's fine. Okay, now I will say that that kind of opens you up to making a little calculation mistake that's not needed. However, you know, just be careful, use your calculator, you should be just fine. All right, I don't care which formula you use. So a lot of people tend to prefer the pi d just because it's a little simpler. You don't have to, it's not 3 terms you're multiplying. So, you know, but like I said, it's up to you. All right, do you have these written down? Circles and everything?
Yes.
All right, so now let's look at example 1. In example 1, we're finding circumference when we're given, we have to figure out, is this diameter or radius? Okay, so am I given the diameter or the radius? Diameter, so which formula am I going to use? C equals pi d, which my value for pi is 3.14. I plug in my value for d, and I just put it in my calculator. 3.14 times 25. So, did you get 78.5?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to do one. All right, now are you going to use pi d or 2 pi r?
2 pi d. All right.
C equals pi d, right? Because you have diameter here. So you have to figure out diameter, radius, and then you use that formula. All right, did you get 37.68?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now let's move on to example 2. Now in example 2, I'm still finding circumference, except now they're throwing into the mix this fraction value, this 22 over 7. And they basically what they're saying is, if the diameter or the radius is divisible by 7, so is 21 divisible by 7? Okay, so it's 28, so it's 35, and we can keep going. Numbers that are divisible by 7. If it is, then you actually get a more even answer by using the fraction. This fraction, 22 over 7. Either way, guys, I don't care. So if that kind of confuses you and you don't like it, you can just use the decimal. But I just want to show you how this works out to be a little more even. So do we have a radius value or diameter here? Radius. So what's my formula for radius? C equals 2 pi r. Okay, C equals 2 pi r. And then, all right, so C equals 2 pi r. And my radius is 21. So since my radius is divisible by 7, I'm just going to multiply by the fraction. And if you just multiply it across, you use your calculator, you enter the fraction, it'll work out evenly. So you don't have to worry about cross reducing or anything. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. What did you get when you multiplied?
131.32.
Okay, you used 3.14. So if you use the fraction, it came out to a nice, pretty whole number, didn't it? 132. Now, if you use the decimal, it was 131.88. No, but what it's saying is, if you use the fraction when it's divisible, when the diameter radius is divisible by 7, it comes out to a nice even whole number. If you use the 3.14, it's not going to be an even decimal value. All right, but like I said, either way, I'm not going to count off as long as your answer is one or the other. All right, so now I want you to try a couple. Use one or the other. You can either use 22 over 7 or 3.14. Use 22 over 7 if the radius or diameter is divisible by 7. Go ahead and plug this into your formula. Like I said, use either value for pi and solve for the circumference. In radius here, we use 2 pi r, make our substitutions, 56.52. Who got it right? Okay, looking for more people to get it right on the next one. Go ahead and solve for this circumference of this circle. All right, so 2 pi r, and then 2 pi times 100, 628. Who got it right? Pretty much everybody. Good. All right, now last one. Okay, find the circumference. So which value did you use? Did you use 22 over 7 or 3.14? Anybody use 21 over 7? 22 over 7? Okay, so why did you use the fraction? Yeah, because 49 is divisible by 7. So if you use the fraction, then you came up with a more specific answer. I got 154. What did you get? Okay, and that one's fine too, 153.86. But remember, it's a more even number if you use the fraction if the radius or diameter is divisible by 7. So in example 3, it says a giant sequoia tree has a circumference of 998 inches. Has anyone ever seen a sequoia tree out west?
What's sequoia tree?
They're usually out west, like Washington, California. Yeah, like the really giant trees. So it has a circumference of 998 inches. What is the tree's diameter? Well, since it's asking for diameter, what formula do you use? C equals pi d. It's asking for diameter. So now you plug in the value for circumference, 998, equals, what value do we use for pi? 3.14 d. How can I solve for d?
You kind of
Divide both sides by
998.
998. So it's about 318 inches. In this case, the instructions said round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so then that's why I did that. I want you to do one. Kind of gave it away, but a giant sequoia tree now has a circumference of 676 inches. What is the tree's radius? And I want you to round to the nearest whole number. Round to the nearest whole number. Okay, so since it specifically says radius, which formula do you use? C equals 2 pi r. 2 pi r. Okay, 2 pi r, and now we plug in 676 for c equals 2 times 3.14 times r. Now, this one's a little different because before I can divide, I need to simplify this. I can multiply 2 times 3.14, and what do I get?
6.28.
Yep, 6.28 r, and then what do I do to both sides? Divide both sides by 6.28. All right, radius is 108 inches. And if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 11.6.